Hey there, everybody. Welcome to another edition of What's Hot with Sea of Tranquility. I'm your host, Pete Pardo, publisher and CEO of SOT. Today, all right, so we had the unboxing a couple weeks ago. Now we've got the actual review, all right? So, Pete, great to see that new Hendrix box set, but what the hell do you think about it? We're dying for your review. We want to know what you think, all right? So you're going to get it today. So here we have Songs for Groovy Children, the Fillmore East concerts, right? So we saw this when I got it, when I received it. I pulled the plastic off. I pulled everything out, showed you what was inside. Pretty damn cool, right? But it all comes down to, how the hell does the music sound? So, of course, got this nice little box, right? So for those of you who are forgotten or maybe don't know, Jimi Hendrix and the Band of Gypsys, a brand new band that he put together in late 1969, along with Billy Cox on bass and Buddy Miles on drums and vocals. All right, they had booked 2 days at Bill Graham's Fillmore East in Lower East Side of New York City. Okay. Happened to be New Year's Eve, right? So 2 shows each day. So you had a early show and a late show on December 31st. Okay, and then you had on January 1st, you had an early show and a late show. So 4 shows total. All right. They have been labeling this as the complete performances. Well, it's really not. When I bought this, it's totally stoked because I'm like, finally, everything played that entire weekend. Because of course, I've always had the Band of Gypsys, release, which is just kind of some of the select performances from the weekend. All right, I had the Fillmore concerts, which was a double disc set of more performances. Then they released Machine Gun, which had even more performances, right? So I was like, well, I'm getting there, right? I have most of the performances. Then I heard them announce this. I was like, finally, I can have everything, right? Not quite. Not quite. From what I understand and what other viewers have told me, other Hendrix fanatics, and what I've kind of read and looked at the original set lists and things, I think we're missing about 4 or 5 tunes overall. Okay? 4 or 5 tunes. I'm sure you have other versions of those songs that are missing on here from other nights, but come on. They couldn't have, where's the other couple, right? They couldn't have just thrown them all on here, whether you needed to put another disc or what have you. I'm like, gotta make it happen, folks. So anyway, real quick, let me just, before I start talking about the music, let's take a look at this booklet because, a lot of people like the packaging, like me, want to see the cool stuff. So the booklet's pretty neat. All sorts of interesting photographs and insight, right? There's the marquee outside the Fillmore. All right, what do we got here? A lot of cool pics of the guys. All right. Especially a lot of pics of Jimmy, right? Of course. What's amazing, and again, I was never there, right? But what's amazing is how it's not like a club like nowadays. Here this had, or I guess it was more of like a small theater, but seats, people hanging out, chilling out. Not like with places in New York City now where you stand up, they're all jam-packed in there like sardines, all right? A little more of a cool setting. Great pictures here of Jimmy. I think you get the picture, right? A lot of cool stuff, and I glossed over a lot of it. But anyway, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 discs, okay? So we'll start off. First of all, the sound quality is very good. Very good, as you would imagine, right? Because we're talking about the same source material that the Band of Gypsys album came from, right? So top notch. The fact that they held on to all this for so long is crazy because the sound quality of all the recordings, all the shows are really, really strong. And I think that if you're like a sort of a casual Hendrix fan, okay, and you're used to, the majority of what we have available throughout the years, whether it be studio or live, is mostly like the Jimi Hendrix experience. So the Band of Gypsys are kind of like, almost an oddity when you look at the whole Hendrix canon, right? But they were a very different band. So I know I've seen comments from folks like on the unboxing video who were like, yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Band of Gypsys. I really, really like the experience. But 2 completely different bands. Okay, the experience were more of like a psychedelic and blues rock band. Okay, a lot of weird, different styles and a lot of experimentation and what have you. But the Band of Gypsys were like a heavy funk band, right? A bluesy funk band. Totally different vibe. You know, even like Hendrix's guitar playing on a lot of these recordings is very different from the wild guy, all right, who's just experimenting all over the place on those early Experience, either studio albums or live albums. This is much different. You know, this trio very locked in, feeding off of each other. This is not like the early Experience days where it's like, you know, you had Redding and Mitchell who were basically there to hold down the rhythm for Hendrix to just, you know, explode. That was the young Jimi Hendrix, right? This couple years later, right? A little bit different. Very different vibe here. So on the first disc, okay, which is the December 31st, 1969 first set, you've got Power Soul, very good. Lover Man is killer on here. A stellar rendition of Hear My Train Coming, you know, where Jimmy is. We're going to play a little blues song for you here. Changes. Isabel is very cool here. Machine Gun is good. You know, the funny thing is you got all these versions of Machine Gun, and really the best one by far, and it's not even close, is the Machine Gun, and I believe that's actually from the first show, day 2, okay? I'm pretty sure that's the one that made it onto the Band of Gypsys album. That one is just like off the charts great. The others are really good, but it's not quite the same. Stop is excellent on here, cover of Stop. You got Easy Rider, Bleeding Heart, Earth Blues, and Burning Desire. All really strong. It's a very good performance, the first performance of the weekend. Okay, and then the second performance, all right, you've got, again, this is the same day, December 31st, 1969, second set, so this is the evening show. You got Auld Lang Syne, Who Knows? So obviously Auld Lang Syne, so this is, you know, after midnight, right? Who Knows? Great version there. Fire, Easy Rider, Machine Gun, Stone Free, Changes, Message to Love, Stop, and Foxy Lady. So here you can hear some of the early tunes, the early Experience songs starting to bleed into the set, whereas you didn't really hear much at all of that in the first set from earlier in the day. Okay, excellent stuff on here. Easy Rider is awesome on every show that it featured in. Some really good stuff there. So, you know, I just got done reading Dave Henderson's Excuse Me While I Kiss the Sky, Hendrix biography. And he talks about how, and I mentioned this in the other video, he talks about how after the first day's shows, you know, Jimmy did his normal stuff. You know, he was wild on the stage, you know, running around and, you know, doing all his behind the neck and, you know, behind the back and all that kind of stuff. And he gets off stage, and again, this is just what I read in the book. I'm not saying this actually happened or not, but when he gets off the stage, he's all excited. He's like, and he goes up to Bill Graham, and he's like, "So what'd you think? What'd you think? That was great, right?" And Bill was like, "Yeah, it was okay, but I think you could have done better." He's like, "You know, if you'd stay still and concentrate more on playing and stop with all the showboating and the acrobatics, I think that your music would come across better." Okay. Again, not sure if that actually happened or not, or that it was actually said, but apparently, according to the book, Jimmy was kind of pissed off at that and said, "Really? Okay." So then for day 2, okay, for the first set there, Jimmy decided, you know what? I'm going to pick a spot on the stage, and I'm not moving from that spot. So all the showboat and all the stuff that's normally part of my act that the people go nuts for, I'm not going to do it. We're just going to sit here and play. And that is the performance included on disc 3 here. So here we have New Year's Day, 1970, January 1st, first set. This includes that Machine Gun performance that I was telling you about. So here we got Who Knows, which is killer. Machine Gun, you got Changes, Power Soul, a great stepping stone. All right, Foxy Lady, Stop, Earth Blues, and Burning Desire. Okay, so they change up the set list each day, although, you know, drawn from a lot of the same songs, but not playing the same set every single performance. You know, again, this day, you know, after you read those comments from the book, and again, whether they happen or not, I don't know, but it kind of makes sense when you go back and listen to this now, and you listen to, there's a different intensity happening on the first show of January 1st as opposed to the night before or the day before. Does it have anything to do with what perhaps was said between those two guys? I don't know. All right. And here we got disc 4, second set. Second set's a little bit longer. They broke it up into 2 discs here. So we've got Stone Free, Power of Soul, Changes, Message to Love, Machine Gun, Lover Man, Steal Away, Earth Blues, and then a killer Voodoo Child, Slight Return, Extended, We Gotta Live Together, Wild Thing, Hey Joe, and Purple Haze. So again, you know, kind of playing some of the old favorites here to kind of finish off the weekend, right? Finish off the shows. Very, very good. You know, Hey Joe is actually, you know, I've grown very tired of Hey Joe over the years. I've heard it a million times, and it was never one of my favorite Hendrix tunes. Very good on here. A little bit of different arrangement. Purple Haze kills. We Gotta Live Together. Very good. Again, just really good, funky, hard rock and blues stuff. Just really, really good. And you know, like I said, the performances are stellar. The recording is amazing. Really, really good from something that's, you know, such an old, you know, for all the old master tapes and what have you. I mean, 1969, 1970, right? It's a long time ago. I was a wee little lad at the time. But, I mean, I dig this. And again, it's a shame that those extra couple tunes that they took off are not here. I'm not going to make a federal case about it. I'm sure at some point in time we'll get the full-blown, complete weekend somewhere. This is damn close enough. So this is what, 95% of it? I'm okay with that. It's a nice package, right? Nice box. The sound is great. So for all, you know, I'm going to keep my Band of Gypsys CD, obviously. But those other ones that I gave them away to a buddy because I don't really need those anymore. The Machine Gun and the Fillmore concerts, right? Because it's all here. So no real need for that. So, you know, now this sits on my shelf along with all sorts of other Hendrix live albums, live recordings on CD. So I dig it. If you're a Hendrix fan and you don't have this already, you need to get it. It's gonna be on my best live releases of the year, archival releases of the year, without a doubt. It's fantastic. It's really, really good. So this is on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Of course, we're on YouTube all the damn time. A lot of great stuff coming up. Tomorrow ends round 4 of Classic Live Album War. So we're going to be going in and counting all the results, seeing who moves on to round 5, but more importantly, who wins the wild card round and who that wild card winner goes up. What other 2 albums does it go up in that sudden death, triple threat, double elimination round? And from here on in, we're going to be keeping these rounds a little bit shorter. Okay, so instead of doing the full 6 days, we're probably going to do 3 days. So 3 days of voting. So make sure you hop on and vote. Okay, every vote counts. Remember, so because we're going to crown a winner on Christmas Day. That's how it's going to work. All right, so we'll see you guys tomorrow. More stuff. We got other new live things, and not live things. We got other new studio albums. We got to talk about the new Who. I got to listen to the Who a couple more times, and then we'll review the new Who CD. I got other stuff here floating around, so we'll get to all of it in due time. All right. So we'll see you guys real soon. Take care. Bye bye.